Here's the truth about lead gen for tech and AI companies right now. If you don't have a system that produces qualified leads on demand, nothing else in your business matters. You can't forecast, you can't hire properly, and you can't scale predictably. And after working with dozens of AI and tech founders, the pattern is always the same. They're not struggling to get attention, they just don't understand their inputs. And when you don't understand your inputs, you can't attract the right people who have a budget, authority, and a real problem worth solving. So in today's video, I'm going to break down and talk about what a qualified lead actually looks like, why most teams can't generate them predictably, and which lead generation channels you should be leveraging leading into 2026. Now, before we dive into things, if you don't mind to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my weekly videos regarding B2B tech and AI growth. All right, well, let's dive into things, ladies and gentlemen. Why tech firms don't have qualified leads. Let's talk through this. First of all, the reason is they don't have a real lead generation system. A lot of them just rely upon referrals, or they just have outbound that they occasionally do. They have some random inputs. And what happens is when, the market turns down or they have more competition that comes in, there's just a lot of unpredictability. And the reason as to why there's unpredictability is they have random inputs. And when you have random inputs, you have a random pipeline. And the thing is, if you have no inputs, you have no pipeline. And the only way you can actually get a predictable pipeline is by having clear inputs. Now, what are clear inputs? That means that you know exactly how many emails you have to send to get one lead. You know exactly how many dials you have to make in order to get a lead. You know how much you have to spend on ads in order to get a lead. And when you understand those metrics, now you can start forecasting your growth and you have an actual lead generation system. So before we dive into the actual channels that you should be leveraging in terms of generating these qualified leads, let's start by talking about what qualified leads actually are, because this is a very controversial topic among a lot of different firms that we talk to. And the way that I've broken down things is pretty simple. Now, a qualified lead, from what I determined this to be, is they have a budget, first of all, meaning that they can afford whatever it is that you're going to sell them. They have the authority, meaning that that is the right person to be talking to. They make the decisions within their organization, and they actually have a need, meaning that whatever problem that they have, your product can actually help them solve. Now, timeline here is optional, and the reason why I say it's optional is because I feel that a strong salesperson can actually create urgency within a sales call and a discovery call to make them solve that need now, rather than waiting 6 to 12 months to figure out that problem. Now, I understand that if you are in enterprise sales and you're working with super big organizations, timeline may be an actual thing because of the fact that they have contracts and they have committees and they have boards. And so, for that specific case, then yes, timeline would be considered a qualified lead. However, I would still believe that it's worth having you have that conversation with that person, even if it's not the right time. Hence why I would deem that still as a qualified lead. Now, I'm using a very similar framework to the BANT framework, if you are familiar with that, but I just take out timeline because I don't think that that's that necessary for most B2B space. Now, like I said, if you're enterprise, I get it. You can include the timeline. So let's talk about, now that we understand what a qualified lead looks like, what do we need to do to actually get more of these qualified leads? First of all, we have to start with an ICP. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, I always talk about this because it is the most important part, right? If we don't understand what our ideal client profile is, we can't create good messaging, we can't create a good offer. So first of all, who are we going to serve? What does that ideal client profile look like? Does it have a specific industry? Is it a specific role? Or is it just specific problems, right? You can start with an ICP with any one of these. Now, if you want to go super niche, right, you can get all three, where it's a specific industry with a specific role and a specific problem. This is going to help you create a super powerful message that resonates. Now, you can do either one of these and you can still have a powerful message. We have clients that we create messages for around just one of these and it still works. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Now, once we understand what our ICP is, now we have to create an offer. Now, an offer being a promise or an outcome that we're going to be delivering to these people to help them solve that original problem that we understand that they're going through. And ideally, we want to have a clear front to end offer, meaning that, instead of trying to sell your, $500,000 deal right off the bat in terms of, your NetSuite implementation or a custom AI solution that, revamps their whole company, you want to start with a specific problem, right? With a specific front end offer that allows you to get your foot into the door, because this works really well when you are selling to cold traffic, meaning that you want to get your foot into the door before you upsell that bigger deal on the back end. Now, that's not to say that you can't just, go in and try to hit a home run right off the bat. I just feel that sometimes in terms of predictability, you can have more more predictability when you have that clear front end offer. So now that we understand what our ICP is, what that front end offer is, or what our actual outcome is, now we have to talk about the 3 channels that you should be leveraging in 2025. Now let's talk about the 3 channels you should be leveraging leading into 2026. Now, the number 1 channel that I'm the biggest fan of is paid ads. And it's because we've built our business on paid ads. It's also what we offer to a lot of the AI and B2B tech companies that we work with. And I'm going to do a shameless plug right now. If you do want to grow your business with paid ads and you're looking to figure out exactly how you should be leveraging them, go ahead and book a call with me inside of the description. I'll be happy to walk you through a whole process. Now, if you just want to understand how to run paid ads for yourself, I'm going to walk you through that as well in this. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to understand that paid ads give you the measurable inputs very easily to follow. So you're going to know your cost per lead and your cost per qualified book call very effectively once you start running paid ads. Now, Meta is the channel that I recommend you start because it's going to be the most forgiving, meaning that it's going to have the lowest cost per lead and the lowest cost per qualified book call, meaning that you can make mistakes within your sales process or you can have your offer not fully defined and you can still make a lot of money. So what you're going to want to do after you've figured out what your ICP and your offer is, you're going to want to create 3 simple static ads, 3 to 5. And in that static ad, you want to call out your ICP, you want to call out their pain point, and then you want to use your offer statement that you've now created. And keep these super minimal, keep these super clean. They don't have to be fancy. We've literally ran ads that are just ugly, right, in terms of the actual presentation, but they have the offer statement and they have an actual outcome and they print meetings. We got, $80 cost per qualified book calls with enterprise buyers. So this means that you don't have to be fancy with your static ads. Second thing is you want to build a simple funnel. Now, I recommend not doing a lead form. Some people will talk about using lead forms. I don't recommend using lead forms because of the fact that the quality that comes through the lead form is typically a lot lower than the quality that comes through an actual funnel. So what I would recommend is you build a simple funnel, simple landing page, right? And either use Go High Level or ClickFunnels to build this funnel. You want to have a call out right at the top about who this is for and who this is not for. The second thing that you want to have is a call to action button that goes to what we call an application page. And then after the application page, you want to have a calendar page where people can book with you. Now, the application page is super important because this is what's going to allow you to qualify people before they come and book a call with you, because otherwise you're going to have a couple things that go wrong. You're going to be talking with a whole bunch of people that basically can't buy from you. They don't have the budget. They don't have the need. They don't have the authority. And the second thing is that you're going to be training the pixel on the wrong data. Ideally, you want to be training your pixel on people that are qualified so that Meta can find more people like that person that obviously books a call with you. So that application is super important. You want to make sure that you're using Typeform. And the last thing that I'll mention is here on that calendar booking page, you can just use Calendly so that they can book a call with you there. Now, the biggest thing here is you want to start with at least $100 a day. And I recommend this for testing angles, right? When you test those 3 to 5 different statics at $100 a day, give that about a week runway. And if you're not booking a call for less than around $500 or less than $300, then I would basically turn those off and create another angle and another creative refresh. And the biggest thing is once you've actually found the winning angle with those metrics of less than $300 cost per qualified book call or less than $500, depending on the exact market that you're going after, at that point, you just want to continue to refresh creatives if you see performance dip. So the biggest thing with paid ads is it's super simple, right? You just want to make this simple. You don't want to overcomplicate things. Static ads, simple funnel, application, and then qualified calls. People will try to run these crazy types of funnels to get to the same route that you obviously want to get to, which is booking a qualified call. Now, you can obviously layer into things afterwards once you've gotten this simple structure working. And like, for example, a VSL, a video sales letter, you can layer into this after you've proven this out originally. Now, you can obviously layer a VSL after you've proven this process out in a very simple structure. So that is paid ads. So the second channel that I actually recommend for scaling your business and getting predictable leads, qualified leads, is outbound calling. Now, it's an underrated channel in 2026 because a lot of people think that people aren't picking up their phone, but that couldn't be farther away from the truth. And I'm going to show you exactly how to start and how you can start calling as soon as you can so you can start getting more qualified leads. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you're going to want to find a database. Now, there's a whole bunch of databases that you can use, but what I'm going to recommend for this video to keep things super simple is just Apollo. Go on Apollo and search for your ICP and pull a targeted list from Apollo itself. It's a $90 a month plan. And the second thing that you want to do, you don't want to call these leads from your phone. It's going to take you forever and your pickup rate is probably going to be lower. And so that is what's going to ultimately stunt you from figuring out, how many dials you need to actually get a qualified lead. So you're going to want to use a dialer, either Just Call or Phone Burner. I've used both. I prefer Just Call. And on Just Call, you're going to want to set up what's called a predictive dialer, where you can call multiple numbers at the same time and you can increase your pickup rates. Now, what this allows you to do is it allows you to have more conversation. If you're having more conversations, you're going to be booking more meetings. And so on the scripting of this side, I'm not going to go into this detailed, but you're going to want to have a couple of scripts based upon, old leads that you're re-engaging, right? Follow-up, for example, that you're going after as well. And then as well as like if you're going off a straight cold calling, like permission-based openers. And once you've figured out the script that works, you should just do brute volume of this, right? If you are trying to be serious about calling, a lot of times people will try to say that you need a perfect script, this and that. If you just call a whole bunch of people, right, every single day, you're going to start realizing what works, what doesn't, and you're going to be able to tailor a script towards your personality. And also once you figure that script out, you're going to be able to replicate a process within your business that you can give to an SDR at some point. Now, second thing is once you understand how many calls you have to make in order to get a lead, now you can start understanding your inputs. And that's why it's so important understanding your inputs. Because, for example, I know within my business that if I make 70 dials, I'm going to book a meeting. And then you can start projecting off of 70 dials how many meetings you're going to get and how many dials you have to make to get X amount of meetings to close X amount of deals. And that's all about understanding those inputs. And that's why, calling, and I didn't put in this list, but, direct messaging is one of them as well. But I feel that the best thing that you can do as a founder or someone that's trying to grow their business predictably is controlling the inputs yourself and getting on the phone and talking with people. Now, the last channel that I'm going to recommend to you guys leading into 2026 is content, good old fashioned content, like I'm doing right here, right now. Now, the reason why content is a great channel for you to be leveraging, even if, for example, you're doing paid ads or you're doing outbound calling, you want to leverage content as well, because it's a great thing to, first of all, pair it with, and it's a great long-term leverage. So with paid ads and outbound, you're not building leverage there, right? You have to do inputs every single day in order to produce an output. Now with content, however, one piece of content can continue to generate you leads over and over again, and it's building a bank of social proof and credibility for your organization. And you can also use content to help you increase show rates and also increase your close rates. So how do you start with making content? Now I'm going to break this down. It's super simple, so you can just start this tomorrow. Is you want to start asking yourself, what is my ICP that I've defined earlier actually searching for? Like what problems do they want to have solved, right? For example, I'm making a video right now on how to generate qualified leads for B2B tech and AI firms, because I know that B2B tech and AI firms are looking for ways to generate more qualified leads. I know that's a problem that they have within the market. So you want to do the same thing within your business. You want to think about if it's an IT director or if it's a technology director, or if I'm going after a founder who wants an MVP, right? What are the problems that they have that I can create content around? The second thing that you want to do is share case studies, right? Share different examples of other clients you've helped and stories, right? People love stories. So you can talk about stories about how you've helped develop, an MVP for this specific company and what you did for them and the transformation that you made for them. And you want to keep things super simple. Keep production simple, right? You don't have to go super fancy, right? In terms of your mic quality, the camera that you use. It's just all about being able to make sure that you're, first of all, consistent and that you're speaking the language of your ICP. Now, the thing that I actually recommend that you do is you start with YouTube. Now, I feel that YouTube is so powerful for you to start with. You can start with LinkedIn as well, but I think that YouTube is actually one of the biggest channels that's slept on, is because you can repurpose it into so many different parts of your content strategy. So for example, what you should do once you record a YouTube video is you upload that transcript into Claude and you can generate LinkedIn posts from that one video that you created. You should also use AI to figure out where you should be leveraging shorts. So you should take those short form contents and then be able to leverage them on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you want. Now, the beautiful thing about short form is that brings in views, and then your long form is supposed to nurture them. And so if you do this consistently for 12 months and you post one video a week like I'm doing, the compounding effect that you are going to see from content is going to be astronomical. You're going to have more SEO, right? People, as soon as they search up your name, they're going to see exactly all your videos. When they search up your company, they're going to see your videos. And it's a great long-term nurture sequence that you can put people in. So the last thing that I'll talk through here is how all these three channels work together. Now, the biggest thing is that you want to be using two of these at least together, either paid ads and content or outbound and content, because they're going to build on top of each other, right? They're going to amplify each other, right? If you're running paid ads at scale, the biggest thing is that you're going to see more people when they look you guys up before they book a meeting and they see content, they're going to be more willing to book a meeting with you guys. Or if you're doing outbound calling, for example, they may have heard about you guys before, have seen your content before, or you can call people who have seen your LinkedIn profile, or you can just call people and once you've booked a meeting with them, send them over your content so you can start to build more trust with them. Now, the biggest thing is you want to be using these channels cohesively, right? And creating an actual lead generation strategy strategy, and most importantly, understanding your inputs, right? Because if you use paid ads, you're gonna understand your inputs. If you use outbound, you're gonna understand your inputs, and then leveraging that in with content, it's gonna be a beautiful strategy that you can leverage in 2026 to grow your business predictably. So hope that was valuable, guys, and you guys got some value out of this video. Just remember, you don't have a lead problem, you have a system problem. You have to understand your inputs. And in order to understand your inputs, you need to create a lead generation system, which all starts with a clear ICP, a clear offer, and then 2 of those channels working together. So either paying paid ads and content or outbound and content. Now, let's make sure that you guys are growing in 2026. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And if you are interested in kind of figuring out how you should be building out these channels within your business and what you should be doing to grow your business in 2026, make sure to book a call with me in the description. I'll be happy to walk you through what we've been doing to help dozens of AI and tech companies grow their business. But other than that, have a great rest of your day. Take it easy. Ciao.